How did you manage to stay with your own clarity as a child and not let yourself become intimidated by the grown-ups around you? Where did you get that courage from?
Innocence is courage and clarity both. There is no need to have courage if you are innocent. There is no need either for any clarity, because nothing can be more clear, crystal clear, than innocence. So the whole question is, how to protect one's own innocence. It is not something to be achieved. It is not something to be learned. It is not something like a talent, painting, music, poetry, sculpture. It is not like those things. It is more like breathing. You are born with. It is everybody's nature. Nobody is born other than innocent. How one can be born other than innocent? The birth means you have entered into the world as a tabula rasa. Nothing is written on you. You have only future, no past. That is the meaning of innocence. So first try to understand all the meanings of innocence. The first is no past, only future. Past corrupts because it gives you memories, experiences, expectations. All those combined together make you clever but not clear. They make you cunning but not intelligent. They may help you to succeed in the world, but in your innermost being, you will be a failure. And all the success of the world means nothing compared to the failure that finally you are going to face. Because ultimately only your inner self remains with you. All is lost. Your glory, your power, your name, your fame, all start disappearing like shadows. At the end, only that remains which you had brought in the very beginning. You can take from this world only that which you have brought in. In India, it is common wisdom that the world is like a waiting room on a railway station. It is not your house. You are not going to remain in the waiting room forever. Nothing in the waiting room belongs to you. The furniture, the paintings on the wall, you use them. You see the painting. You sit on the chair. You rest on the bed. But nothing belongs to you. You are just for few minutes or for few hours at the most, and then you will be gone. Yes, what you have brought in with you in the waiting room, you will take away with you. That's yours. What have you brought in the world? And world certainly is a waiting room. The waiting may be not in seconds, minutes, hours, days. It may be in years. But what does it matter whether you wait 7 hours or 70 years? You may forget in 70 years that you are just in a waiting room. You may start thinking perhaps you are the owner. Perhaps this is the house you have built. You may start putting your name plate on the waiting room. There are people I have seen, because I was traveling so much, people have written their names in the bathrooms of the waiting rooms. People have engraved their names on the furniture of a waiting room. It looks stupid, but is very similar to what people do in the world. There is a very significant story in ancient Jaina scriptures. In India, it is believed that if somebody can become the emperor of the whole world, he is called Chakravartin. The word Chakravartin simply means Chakra means the wheel. In ancient India, it was a way to avoid unnecessary fighting and violence. A chariot, a golden chariot, very valuable, with beautiful and strong horses, will move from one kingdom to another kingdom. If the other kingdom does not resist and lets the chariot pass, that means that kingdom has accepted the owner of the chariot as his superior. Now there is no need to fight. This way the chariot will move, and wherever they will obstruct the chariot, then there will be war. If the chariot is not obstructed anywhere, then without any war, the superiority of the king is proved. He becomes a Chakravartin, whose wheel has moved around and nobody has been able to obstruct it. This has been the desire of all the kings to become Chakravartin. Certainly it needs more power than Alexander the Great. Just to send your chariot it needs tremendous power to support. It needs absolute certainty that if the chariot is obstructed, there is going to be a mass slaughter. It means the man is recognized already that if he wants to conquer anybody, there is no way to prevent him conquering you. but a very symbolic way, more civilized. There is no need to attack. There is no need to start killing. Just send a symbolic message. So with his flag, the chariot will go. And if the king feels that there is no point, fighting simply means defeat and unnecessary violence, destruction, he welcomes the chariot. In his capital, flowers are thrown over the chariot. This seems to be a far civilized way than what Soviet Union and America are going to do. Just send a beautiful chariot. But that means your strength should be something absolutely certain to you, and not only to you, it should be certain to everybody else. Only then such a symbol can be of any help. So every king had the desire to become a Chakravartin someday. The story is, one man becomes a Chakravartin, and it happens only in thousands of years that a man becomes a Chakravartin. Even Alexander the Great was not a world conqueror. There was yet much left unconquered, and he died very young. He was only 33. There was not even time enough to conquer the world. What to say of conquering? Even the whole world was not known. Half of the world was unknown. The half that was known, even that was not conquered. This man, of whom I am going to tell you the story, became the Chakravartin. It is said that when a Chakravartin dies, because a Chakravartin happens only in thousands of years, it is a rare being. When he dies, he is received in heaven with great rejoicings, and he is taken to a special place in Jaina mythology. In heaven there is a parallel mountain to the Himalayas. The Himalayas is just made of rocks and earth and ice. The parallel Himalayas in heaven is called Sumeru. Sumeru means the ultimate mountain. Nothing can be higher than that, nothing can be better than that. It is solid gold. Instead of rocks, there are diamonds and rubies and emeralds. And when a Chakravartin dies, he is led to Sumeru mountain to engrave his name on the mountain. That is a rare opportunity that happens only once in thousands of years. And of course, this man was immensely excited that he is going to write his name on the Sumeru. That is the ultimate catalogue of all the great ones who have been, and will also be the catalogue of all the great ones who are going to be. He is becoming party to a lineage of Superman. The gatekeeper gives him instruments to engrave his name. He wants few of his men who had committed suicide just because their emperor was dying. They could not think of living without him. His wife, his prime minister, his commander-in-chief, all the great people who were around him, they had all committed suicide. So they had come with him. And he wanted the gatekeeper to let them all come to see him engrave his name. Because what is a joy? You alone go and you engrave your name. Nobody is there even to see. Because the real joy is that the whole world should see. The gatekeeper said, you listen to my advice, because this is my inherited profession. My father was a gatekeeper, his father was a gatekeeper. For centuries we have been gatekeeper to Sumeru mountain. Listen to my advice. Don't take them with you, otherwise you will repent. The king could not understand. But he could not even go against his advice, because what interest that man could have in preventing? That man said, if you still want them to see, first go, engrave your name, come back, take them with you if you want. I have no objection. Even now if you want to take them, but just in case you decide not to, then there will be no place, no chance. They will be with you. You go alone. This was a perfectly sane advice. He said, that's good. I will go alone, engrave the name, come back and call you all. The gatekeeper said, I am perfectly willing to that. The king went and he saw the Sumeru shining under thousands of suns, because in heaven you cannot be so poor to have just one sun. Thousands of suns and a golden mountain far bigger than the Himalayas. Himalayas is almost 2,000 miles long. He could not for a moment open his eyes. It was so glaringly there. And then he started looking for a space, the right space, but he was very much puzzled. There was no space. The whole mountain was engraved with names. He could not believe his eyes. For the first time he became aware that what he is. Up to now he was thinking he is a Superman who happens once in thousands of years. But time has been there from eternity. Even thousands of years don't make any difference. So many Chakravartins have happened already. There is no space on that biggest mountain in the whole universe where he can write his small name. He came back and now he understood that the gatekeeper was right, that he didn't took his wife and his commander-in-chief and his prime minister and other intimate friends. It is good that they have not seen the situation. They will still be believing that their king is a rare being. He took the gatekeeper inside and he said, but there is no space. He said, that's what I was telling you. What you have to do, you erase few names and write down your name. That's what has been done. My whole life I have been seeing this done. My father used to say this has been done. My father's father. None in my family has seen Sumeru empty. Any space ever. Whenever a Chakravartin has come, he had to erase few names and write his own name. So this is not the whole history of the Chakravartins. Many times it has been erased. Many times it has been engraved. You just do your work, and then if you want to show your friends, you can bring them in. He said, no, I don't want to show them, and I don't want to write even my name. What is the point? Someday somebody will come and erase it. My whole life has become utterly meaningless. This was my only hope. Sumeru, the golden mountain in the heaven, is going to have my name. For this I have lived. For this I have staked my life. For this I was ready to kill the whole world. And anybody else can erase my name and write his. What is the point of writing it? I will not write it. The gatekeeper laughed. He said, why are you laughing? He said, this is strange. Because this too I have been hearing from my grandfathers, that Chakravartins come and seeing the whole story, just return back, they don't write. You are not new. Anybody having a little intelligence will do the same. In this whole world, what you can gain, what you can take away with you, your name, your prestige, your respectability, your money, your power, what? Your scholarship? You cannot take anything. Everything will have to be dropped here. And in that moment you will understand that all that you had possessed was not yours. The very idea of possession was wrong. And because of that possession, you were corrupted. To increase that possession, to have more money, to have more power, to conquer more lands, you were doing things which even you cannot say were right. You were lying, you were dishonest, you were having hundreds of faces. You were not true even for a single moment to anybody or to yourself. You could not be. You had to be false, phony, pretending. Because these are the things that help to succeed in the world. Authenticity is not going to help you. Honesty is not going to help you. Truthfulness is not going to help you. And without possessions, success, fame, who are you? You don't know. You are your name, you are your fame, you are your prestige, your power. But other than these, who are you? So this whole possessiveness becomes your identity. It gives you a false sense of being. That's the ego. Ego is not something mysterious. A very simple phenomenon. You don't know who you are. And to live without knowing who am I is impossible. If I don't know who am I, then what am I doing here? Then whatsoever I am doing becomes meaningless. The first and the foremost thing is to know who am I. Perhaps then I can do something that fulfills my nature, makes me contented, brings me to home. But if I don't know who am I, and I go on doing things, how I can manage to reach where my nature was supposed to reach, to lead. I have been running hither and thither, but there is not going to be any point that you can say, now I have arrived. This was the place I was searching for. You don't know who you are, so some false identity is needed as a substitute. Your possessions give you that false identity. When Alexander the Great was coming back from India, he remembered that his master Aristotle had asked him to bring a sannyasin from India. Aristotle had heard about sannyasins, rumors from business people, travelers, adventurers were reaching that a strange kind of man exists in India, the sannyasin, which was absolutely unbelievable. Because a sannyasin is possible only when a certain civilization reaches at its very peak, not before that. A primitive society cannot have sannyasins. Only a very superior culture, rich, can become fed up with richness, fed up with culture, fed up with civilization. You cannot be fed up of something which you don't have. To be fed up of something, you need to have it so much that it loses all meaning. There is a continuous loss in meaning. For example, if you have $1 million, do you think when you will have $10 million, the dollar will have the same value for you? It will be 10 times less. But if you have $100,000, $1 million, then in the same proportion, the dollar will go on losing its value for you. You can think of a situation where the dollar loses all meaning. It becomes just dust unto dust. But that is possible only when you have so much. A country poor, hungry, starving, cannot have real sannyasins. Yes, India still has sannyasins, but that is just a dead corpse of sannyas carried out by tradition. Otherwise, sannyasins have disappeared at least for 2000 years in India. They don't exist. My effort was the first after 2000 years to bring the sannyasin back in his true color. That became a conflict because the old sannyasin is dead. He holds the power of tradition, past. My sannyasin is alive, but he has no power of past, no power of tradition, no authority from the scriptures. There was going to be conflict. And they were afraid. Although they knew they have all the authority, but one thing was certain, that they were not alive. You may have all the authority, but you are a corpse. My sannyasin may not have any authority, but he is alive. And life is the only authority there is. Hence the fear in all different traditions of sannyas in India against my sannyasins. We were not doing any harm to anybody. We were not even concerned. We were simply trying to live our way, not interfering with anybody, not even trespassing anybody's path. But strangely, the whole traditional India and the whole country is traditional, wanted to destroy my people. The reason is clear. They became aware that if we succeed to survive, then their death has come. Then they cannot remain anymore. They will have to disappear. In fact, they are living posthumously. They should have disappeared 2000 years before. Exactly at the time when Alexander left India, they should have disappeared. Because Alexander inquired in every place he visited that I want to see a sannyasin. My master has requested me. I asked him, would you like anything from India? Because in those days India was the golden bird. Everything valuable was coming from India. In fact, Europe was almost in a barbarous state. But Aristotle had asked not for something that Alexander could have thought, imagined, he asked a very strange thing: bring a sannyasin. He inquired in every place he visited, and everybody, they said, you came a little late. It was 500 years after Buddha that Alexander reached India. They said you should have come 500 years before, or at least 200 years before. If you had come 500 years before, you would have been greeted by sannyasins everywhere. They were all over the place. They were a strange tribe of people. Even if you had come 200 years before, you would have found one here, one there. That great era of the sannyasins had passed, but few remnants were still available. Now it is very difficult, but you go on trying. Perhaps somewhere you may be able to find. He was very puzzled that he will not be able even to present to his master a simple gift he had asked. But finally, at the border, he found a man. People said, you have come to the right place. This is the man. He reports in his memoirs that the man's name was Dandamis. That seems to be a Greek transformation of some Indian word. I have been thinking what exactly it could be, because Dandamis is not an Indian word. But there has been a certain group of sannyasins who are called Dandi Swami. Dandi means a staff. They carry a staff. And Swami means a master of oneself. So it seems Dandi Swami somehow has got mixed and become Dandamis. He sent his people, obviously. Alexander is a great conqueror, emperor. He will not go to the sannyasin. He is just a beggar, and he heard from people that he is naked and he just lives by the side of the river under a tree. He sent 4 soldiers with naked swords and told them that invite the Swami. Tell him that Alexander the Great wants you to be his guest, and he wants you to take to his country with great respect and honor. And you will remain there a royal guest. And this is something very special, because Alexander have never invited anybody the way he is inviting you. They went and they said, the naked man simply laughed. He said, a man who calls himself Alexander the Great cannot be really great. That is a sign of a very mean mind, to think of himself as the great. The soldiers were shocked. They said, what are you saying? Can't you see our naked swords? He said, I am not blind like you and like your Alexander the Great. If you can see who are blind, can't I see who is not blind? Just go and tell to Alexander that a sannyasin moves according to his will. Thanks for your invitation. And in return, I invite you to be here with me, my guest under my tree, to have some taste of what sannyas is. Alexander was very angry when he heard that this has been the response. He went himself and he said, I am a dangerous man. Again the naked man laughed and he said, you cannot be more dangerous than I am. If you are so dangerous, why you are carrying this sword and so many people around you with naked swords? Look at me, standing naked, and you think you are dangerous. Have you come to accept my invitation and be with me? Or have you come to repeat your invitation again? Alexander said, I have come to take you forcibly. Now it is no more invitation. Either you come with us, or this sword will cut your head and finish you right now. The man laughed the third time and he said, that's great. You do it right now. I am not moving from here. Nobody can move me against my will. Yes, you can cut the head because that does not belong to me. You cannot shake me. That is my citadel, where I am absolutely the emperor. But you can cut the head, you can cut my hands, you can cut my leg, you can cut my whole body into pieces. But remember one thing, when you will be cutting my body, my head, my hands, I will be watching in the same way as you will be watching. Your sword cannot cut me. My watcher cannot be penetrated by a sword. So start, he said, but it is so difficult to kill such a man. Who is inviting you to kill? Alexander said that, I am sorry that I disturbed you, but now I know why. My master had asked to bring a sannyasi. And now I also know why I could not find a sannyasi in so many places I have been visiting. And now I understand also why people were saying that you have come 500 years late. The whole country was full of sannyasis. It is certainly a rare phenomenon. I don't know what this watcher is. But seeing you, looking at you, your integrity, your strength, makes me feel that I have wasted my life. Perhaps, rather than conquering the whole world, if I had also found this watcher, that would have been better. You come with an innocent watcher into the world. Everybody comes in the same way, with the same quality of consciousness. The question is how I managed so that nobody could corrupt my innocence, clarity. From where I got this courage? How I could manage not to be humiliated by grown-ups and their world? I have not done anything. So there is no question of how. It simply happened. So I cannot take the credit for it. Perhaps it happens to everybody. But you become interested into other things. You start bargaining with the grown-up world. They have many things to give to you. You have only one thing to give, and that is your integrity, your self-respect. You don't have much, single thing. You can call it anything, innocence, intelligence, authenticity. You have only one thing. And the child is naturally very much interested in everything he sees around. He is continuously wanting to have this, to have that. That is part of human nature. If you look at the small child, even a just born baby, and you can see he has started groping for something. His hands are trying to find out something. He has started the journey. In this journey he will lose himself, because you can't get anything in this world without paying for it. And the poor child cannot understand what he is giving is so valuable that the whole world on one side and his integrity on one side, then too his integrity will be weighty, more valuable. The child has no way to know about it. This is the problem. Because what he has got, he has simply got it. He takes it for granted. Here, one rich man, very rich, became in the end very much frustrated, which is a natural outcome of all success. Nothing fails like success. Success is significant only if you are a failure. Once you succeed, then you know that you have been cheated by the world, by the people, by the society. The man had all the riches, but no peace of mind. He started looking for peace of mind. That's what is happening in America. More people are looking for peace of mind in America than anywhere else. In India, I have never come across a person who is looking for peace of mind. Peace of the stomach has to be taken care of first. Peace of mind is too far away. From the stomach, the mind is almost millions of miles away. But in America, everybody is looking for peace of mind. And of course, when you are looking for it, then people will be there ready to give it to you. This is a simple law of economics. Wherever there is demand, there is supply. It does not matter whether what you are asking you really need. Neither anybody bothers about that what the supply is going to give you. Is it just bogus advertisement, propaganda, or whether there is something substantial? Knowing this simple principle that wherever there is demand, there is supply, the cunning and clever people have gone one step ahead. Now they say, there is no need to wait for you, create the demand. And that is the whole art of advertisement. It is creating demand. Before you read the advertisement, you had no such demand. You have never felt that this was your need. But reading the advertisement, suddenly you feel, my God, I have been missing it. And I am such a fool that I never knew that this thing exists. Before somebody starts manufacturing something, producing something, even years ahead, 3-4 years ahead, he starts advertising. The thing is not there yet, because first the demand has to reach in the minds of people. And once the demand is there, by that time the supply will be ready. Bernard Shaw has said that when he was new and he published his first book, of course there was no demand. Nobody had ever heard about George Bernard Shaw. How you can demand that I want George Bernard Shaw's book, his drama? So what he used to do the whole day, he published the book. He himself was the publisher. He put together the money himself, and then he went from one bookstore to another bookstore asking that, have you got George Bernard Shaw's book? This is George Bernard Shaw. We never heard the name. It is strange. Such a great man. And you have never heard, and you run a bookstore. Are you out of date or something? The first thing you should do is get George Bernard Shaw's books. He had published only one book, but he started advertising for books. Because when you are going around, why just publicize one book? And one book does not make a man a great writer. And he will go in different dresses, sometimes with a hat, sometimes with glasses, And people started calling on George Bernard Shaw's house, and he had to do all this, the advertising, supplying. That's how he sold his first book. He was asking people on the street, have you heard? Because I am hearing so much about a certain book written by some George Bernard Shaw. People say it is just great, fantastic. Have you heard? They say, no, we have never heard even the name. It is strange. I used to think that London is a cultured society. And he went to libraries and clubs and every place where there was a possibility to create a demand. And he created the demand. He sold the book. And finally, that's how he was continuously doing. Finally, he became one of the greatest writers of this age. He created the demand. But if you succeed, there is no need for anybody to create the demand for peace of mind. If you succeed, you lose on the way peace of mind. That is a natural course. Success takes all peace of your mind. It simply sucks everything that is significant in life, joy, love, everything it goes on taking away from you. And finally, your hands are full of junk. And all that was valuable is lost. Then suddenly you realize peace of mind is needed. Immediately there are suppliers who don't know anything about mind, who don't know anything about peace. I have read one book entitled Peace of Mind by a Jewish rabbi, Joshua Liebman. I have gone through the whole book. Neither the man knows about peace, nor he knows about the mind. But he is a businessman, he is a Jew. He has done a good job without knowing anything about peace or mind. His book is one of the best sellers in the world. Because whoever wants peace of mind is bound to sooner or later find Joshua Liebman's book. And he has written it beautifully. He is a good writer, very articulate, impressive. You will be influenced by it, but peace of mind will remain as far away as was before, or even it may have gone farther away by reading this book. In fact, if a man knows what peace is and what mind is, he cannot write a book entitled Peace of Mind. Because mind is the cause of all unpeace, all restlessness. Peace is when there is no mind. So peace of mind, no commodity like that exists. If mind is there, then peace is not. If peace is there, then mind is not. To write a book, Peace of No Mind, nobody is going to purchase it. I have been thinking, but I thought nobody is going to purchase Peace of No Mind. Just it will not make sense to them. But exactly that's the truth. The child is unaware of what he has brought with him. This rich man was in the same position. He had all the riches of the world. Now he was searching for peace of mind. He went from one sage to another, and they all gave great advices, but advices help nobody. In fact, only fools give advices, and only fools take advices. Wise people are very reluctant to give you advice, because a wise man certainly knows that the only thing in the world which is given freely is advice, and which is never taken by anybody is advice. Why he should bother? A wise man first prepares you so that you can take the advice. He simply does not give you advice. You need to be prepared. It may take years to prepare you, to prepare the ground, and then only you can sow the seeds. It will be a fool who simply goes on throwing seeds on rocks and stones without even bothering, that he is wasting seeds. All these sages gave him advice, but nothing clicked. Finally, a man whom he had not asked, who was not in any way a famous man. On the contrary, he was thought to be the village idiot. That idiot prevented him on the road one day, and he said, "You are unnecessarily wasting your time. None of these are sages. I know them perfectly. But because I am an idiot, nobody believes me. Perhaps you will also not believe me, but I know a sage." Just seeing you so tortured continuously for peace of mind, I thought it is better I should show you the right person. Otherwise, I am an idiot. Nobody asks me for advice, and I never give any advice to anybody. But it was too much. Seeing you so sad and so miserable, that I broke my silence. You go to this man in the next village. He immediately went with a big bag full of precious diamonds. On his beautiful horse, he reached there. He saw that man. This man is known to the Sufis as Mullah Nasruddin. He asked the mullah that, can you help me to attain peace of mind? Mullah said, help? I can give it to you. The rich man thought that this is strange. First that idiot suggested, and just out of desperation I thought there is no harm. I came here. This seems to be even a greater idiot. He is saying, I can give it to you. The rich man said, you can give it to me? I have been to all kinds of sages. They all give advice that do this, do that, discipline yourself, do charity, help poor, open hospitals, this and that. They say, ask. And you say you can give it to me. He said, this is so simple. You get down from the horse. So he got down from the horse. He was holding his bag. Mullah asked, what you are holding in your bag so closely to your heart? He said, these are precious diamonds. If you can give me peace, I will give you this bag. Before he could even figure out what is happening, Mullah took away the bag and ran away. The rich man for a moment was in a shock, could not even understand what to do, and then he had to follow him. But it was Mullah's own town. He knew every street and shortcuts, and he was running, and the rich man had never run in his whole life, and he was so fat, and he was crying and huffing and puffing and tears rolling down, and he said, I have been completely cheated. This man has taken away all my life's hard work, my earnings, everything he has taken away. So a crowd followed, and all were laughing. And he said, are you all idiots? Is this town is full of idiots? I have been completely ruined, and rather than catching hold of the thief, you are all laughing. They said, he is not a thief, he is a very sage man. The rich man said, that idiot of my village got me into this trouble. But somehow running, perspiring, he followed Mullah. Mullah reached back under the same tree where the horse was still standing. He sat down under the tree with the bag, and the rich man came crying and weeping. And Mullah said, "You take this bag." He took the bag, put it close to his heart, and Mullah said, "How it feels? Do you feel some peace of mind?" He said, "Yes, it feels very peaceful." "But you are a strange man, and you have strange methods." He said, "No strange method, it's simple mathematics. Whatever you have, you start taking it for granted. Just you have to be given an opportunity to lose it. Then immediately you will become aware what you have lost. You have not gained anything new. It is the same bag that you have been carrying with no peace of mind, and now the same bag you are holding close to your heart. And anybody can see how peaceful you are looking, a perfect sage, just to go home. And don't bother people. This is the problem for the child, because he comes with innocence and he is ready to buy anything. And give his innocence, except toys, and lose his clarity. He will understand only when all these toys are there in his possession and he can't see any joy out of them, can't see any achievement, any fulfillment. Then he becomes aware what he has lost. And he himself has lost. You are asking me how I managed not to lose. I have not done anything. Just simply from the very beginning, I was a lonely child. Because I was brought up by my maternal grandfather and grandmother. I was not with my father and mother's family. Those two old people were alone. And they wanted a child will be joy of their last days. So my father and mother agreed. I was their eldest child, the firstborn. They sent me. I don't remember any relationship between my father's family in the early years of my childhood with these two old men, my grandfather and his old servant, who was really a beautiful man, and my old grandmother. These three people, and the gap was so big. I was absolutely alone. It was not a company. It could not be a company. They tried their hard to be as friendly to me as possible, but it is just not possible. I was left to myself. I could not say things to them. I had nobody else, because in that small village, my family was the richest, and it was such a small village, not more than 200 people in all, and so poor. That my grandparents will not allow me to mix with their children. They were dirty. And of course, they were almost beggars. So there was no way to have friends that caused a great impact. In my whole life, I had never been a friend. I have never known anybody to be a friend. Yes, acquaintances I had, because those first early years I was so lonely that I started enjoying it, and it is really a joy. So it was not a curse to me, it proved a blessing. I started enjoying it. And I started feeling self-sufficient. I was not dependent on anybody. I have never been interested in games for the simple reason, because from the very childhood, there was no way to play with, there was nobody to play with. I can still see myself in those earliest years just sitting. We had a beautiful spot where our house was, just in front of a lake. Far away for miles, the lake. And it was so beautiful and so silent. Only once in a while you will see a line of white cranes flying or making love calls, and the peace will be disturbed otherwise. It was almost the right place for meditation. And when they will disturb the peace, a love call from a bird, after his call the peace will deepen. It will become more deeper. And the lake was full of lotus flowers. And I was sitting for hours, so self-content, as if the world does not matter. The lotuses, the white cranes, the silence, and my grandparents were very alert of one thing, that I enjoy my aloneness. They have continuously been watching that I have no desire to go to the village to meet anybody or to talk with anybody. Even if they wanted to talk, my answers were in yes or no. I was not interested in talking either. So they became alert of one thing, that I enjoy my aloneness, and it is their sacred duty not to disturb me. So for 7 years continuously, nobody tried to corrupt my innocence. There was nobody. Those 3 old people who lived in the house, the servant and my grandparents, they were all protective in every possible way, that nobody disturbs me. In fact, I started feeling, as I grew up, a little embarrassed that because of me, they cannot talk, they cannot be normal as everybody else is. It was just the opposite situation. It happens with children that you tell them, be silent, because your father is thinking, your grandfather is resting. Be quiet, sit silently. In my childhood it happened opposite. Now I cannot answer why and how. It simply happened. That's why I said it simply happened. The credit does not go to me. All those 3 old people were continuously making signs to each other that don't disturb him. He is enjoying so much. And they started loving my silence. And silence has its vibe. It is infectious. Particularly a child's silence. Not forced. Not because you are saying that I will beat you if you create any nuisance or noise. No, that is not silence. That will not create the joyous vibration that I am talking about. When a child is silent on his own, enjoying, for no other reason, uncaused is his happiness. That creates great ripples all around. In a better world, every family will learn from children. You are in such a hurry to teach them. Nobody seems to learn from them. And they have much to teach you. And you have nothing to teach them. Just because you are older and powerful, you start making them just like you, without ever thinking that what you are, where you have reached, what is your status in the inner world. You are a pauper. And the same you want your child also. But nobody thinks. Otherwise, people will learn from small children. And they bring so much from the other world because they are such fresh arrivals. They still carry the silence of the womb, the silence of the very existence. So it was just a coincidence that for 7 years I remained undisturbed. No Miss Judith Martin to nag me, to prepare me for the world of business, politics, diplomacy. My grandparents were more interested in leaving me as natural as possible. Particularly my grandmother. And she is one of the cause. These small things affect your whole life patterns. She is one of the cause for my respect for the whole womanhood. She was a simple woman, uneducated, but immensely sensitive. She made it clear to my grandfather and the servants that we all have lived a certain kind of life which has not led us anywhere. We are as empty as ever, and now death is coming close. She insisted that let this child be uninfluenced by us. What influence we can only make him like us, and we are nothing. Give him an opportunity to be himself. My grandfather, I have heard them discussing in the night, thinking that I am asleep, used to say to her that you are telling me to do this and I am doing it, but he is somebody else's son, and sooner or later he will have to go to his parents. What they will say, that you have not taught him any manners, any etiquette, he is absolutely wild. She said, don't be worried about that. In this whole world, everybody is civilized, has manners, etiquette, but what is the gain? You are very civilized. What have you got out of it? Let him be wild. At the most, his parents will be angry at us. So what? Let them be angry. They can't harm us. And by that time, the child will be strong enough that they cannot change his life course. I am tremendously grateful to that old woman, because my grandfather was again and again worried that sooner or later he is going to be responsible. They will say that we had left our child with you. You have not taught him anything. My grandmother did not even allow, because there was one man in that village who could at least teach me the beginnings of language, mathematics, a little geography. He was 4 grades educated, the lowest 4, that is primary education as it is called in India. But he was the most educated man in the town. My grandfather tried hard that he can come and he can teach him. At least he will know the alphabet, some mathematics. So when he goes to his parents, they will not say that you just wasted 7 years completely. But my mother said, let them do whatsoever they want to do after 7 years. For 7 years, he has to be just his natural self, and we are not going to interfere. And her argument was always that you know the alphabet, so what? You know mathematics, so what? You have earned a little money. Do you want him also to earn a little money and live just like you? And that was enough to keep that old man silent. What to do? He was in a trouble because he could not argue, and he knew that he will be responsible, not she, because my father will ask him what you have done. And actually that would have been the case, but fortunately he died before my father could have asked. But my father continuously was making that dead old man responsible, that he had spoiled the child. But now I was enough strong and I made it clear to him that before me never say a single word against my maternal grandfather. He has saved me from being spoiled by you. That is your real anger. But you have other children. Spoil them. And at the final stage we will say who is spoiled. He had other children, and more children went on coming. I used to tease him that you please bring one child more. Make it 12, 11 brothers and sisters. People ask how many brothers and sisters. 11 does not right. 12 is more impressive. And in later years, I used to tell him that you go on spoiling all your children. I am wild and I will remain wild. What you see as courage is nothing but wildness. What you see as innocence is nothing but wildness. What you see as clarity is nothing but wildness. Somehow I remained out of the grip of civilization. And once I was strong enough, that's why these people miss Judith Martin and their kind. Insist that take hold of the child as quickly as possible. Don't waste time. Because the earliest you take hold of the child, it is easier. Once the child becomes strong enough, then to bend him according to your desires will be difficult. And life has 7-year circles. By the 7th year, the child is perfectly strong. Now you cannot do anything. Now he knows where to go, what to do. He is capable to argue. He is capable to see what is right and what is wrong. And his clarity will be at the climax when he is 7. If you don't disturb in his earlier years, then at the 7, one is so crystal clear about everything that his whole life will be lived without any repentance. I have lived without any repentance. I have tried to find, have I done anything wrong ever? Not that people have been thinking that all that I have done is right. That is not the point. I have never thought anything that I have done was wrong. The whole world may think it was wrong. But to me, there is absolute certainty that it was right. It was the right thing to do. So there is no question of repenting about the past. And when you don't have to repent about the past, you are free from the past. Past keeps you entangled like an octopus, because you go on feeling that thing I should not have done, or that thing which I was supposed to do and did not do. All those things go on pulling you backwards. I don't see anything behind me, no past. If I say something about my past, it is simply factual memory. It has no psychological involvement. I am telling you as if I am telling about somebody else. Just factual. It has nothing to do with my personal involvement. It may have occurred to somebody else. It may have happened to somebody else. So remember, a factual memory is not enslaving. It is psychological memory. And psychological memory is made up by things that you think or you have been conditioned to think were wrong and you did them. There is a wound, a psychological wound. Things that were right and you have not done. Another wound. And if you count your wounds, you will be surprised how many things there are which you have done against the conscience that has been created by the society in you, and how many things you have not done. Again, which the conscience wanted you to do, and you are in a fix between these two things, you are caught. Your clarity is lost because of this psychological smoke. Goes on deepening, thickening. Your clarity is lost. You become almost a blind man. That's why I say my kind of work is a very strange work. It is just like selling glasses in the city of blind people. First, it is very difficult to convince them that you purchase glasses. In the second place, if they somehow, just to get rid of you, purchase the glasses, then they start torturing you because they say they cannot see through the glasses. They are blind. Glasses won't help them. But what else can be said to you? If it is so difficult to convince you to wear glasses, you can understand how difficult it will be to make you agreed for an eye surgery. Because in the first place, you are not ready to believe that you are blind. Who says you are blind? But except surgery, nothing can help. You have gone too far into blindness. You have lost your innocence and clarity too far back. To regain it, except surgical methods, nothing else can be of any help. My sannyas is surgical. It cuts your very roots which are making you blind. It cuts your relationship with tradition, convention, orthodoxy, society, civilization, culture. It makes you again wild. It brings you to the point from where your parents and your society and your culture started diverting you. My work consists just to take away all that which has been given to you by others with all the good intentions in the world. But they were all blind people. Their good intentions don't make any sense. They were blind. With their good intentions, they have made you blind. All that has to be taken away. it will look almost like a death, because right now you think you are nothing but the combination of all that has been given to you, the education, the culture, the civilization, the religion. All that has to be completely cut off. And then you will find your small, still voice within you. The child will again speak. And to become a child again is to be a sannyasin, and then to start living. No, nobody can disturb you. You are strong enough. If you can find your child, you can protect the child. That child is yourself. That's what you had brought from existence. And once you have recovered it, reclaimed it, you are the Blessed One. There is nothing more valuable than that. With that rediscovery, you start living a new life. I call that life of the rebel. But basically it is the life, very innocent, clear, individual, independent. You will not become world famous, you will not become great conquerors, but you will become exactly what you need to become, your own being. This is religion to me. Everything else is pseudo. Destroy all pseudoness in you. It is risky. That's why I say the life of a sannyasin is the most dangerous life in the world, but the most exciting too. And anything that does not lead ultimately to ecstasy is not worth calling exciting.